Chairman. Thank you to the four of you for coming on. Mayor Johnson, I wanted to just start with you. Uh, in between fiscal year 2023 and 2024, your city received more than 31 million in federal funding through four grant programs. One of them was the Home Investment Partnership. I'm not too sure how much you're aware of how all that was used, but I wanted to see whether or not you're able to speak to whether or not that was helpful and important for your city in terms of understanding how to address the issue of household building of homes. So over to you.
So I can't speak specifically to exactly what those funds went to in terms of directly contributing to the number of housing starts that are attributable to that over that period of time. But what I will say is this, in a more general sense, I think there's a whole long list of federal housing programs that we've used over the years, mostly focused on the construction of multifamily and rental housing units that I think we've sort of learned over the years that they're just not that efficient at delivering at the end of the day the number of housing units that we need to move the needle on affordability. So I don't want to say that these programs don't work. I want to say that it depends on how you define working. I think when we look at creating housing year over year in Dallas, using some of these programs in the 3,000-4,000 unit type of range, when you have the need for maybe 50,000, 60,000 or so units, it's just not enough. And so I think what I want to emphasize to the committee, and I definitely appreciate the opportunity to be here to speak to this, is it's not about the fact that these existing programs are unable to create a housing start. It's about the fact that they will never be as effective at creating the housing at scale that we need to actually move affordability in the right direction,
So,
but then actually impacting the supply side.
I agree with you, and I think there's unanimity here in this room that we need to make sure that we're sending those signals and trying to address the supply side. I guess what I'm trying to think through is how do we make sure that as we spur building and development that we're spurring diversity of types of homes that are being built, because we struggle with that here in New Jersey, my home state, where a lot of the incentives for building is to build very large houses and very expensive condos, and not as much on the affordability side. So I was just trying to get a sense from you, like, what are the tools that help can make sure that affordable homes are being built, not just some of the most expensive stock.
Right. Well, again, I think this is where I have a philosophical difference with some folks about whether or not you can just set out to build an affordable home without getting involved in the market in ways that are counterproductive. I do think that the affordability of homes is related to the supply and demand issue. And what I would say in a city like Dallas, which is almost 400 square miles, which has some of more vacant land in it to build on than most American cities have available to it, is that we are not utilizing to the full extent that we can just building. I'd say let's start with single family. We could be building a lot more single family that would drive down the cost of housing for everyone. Mm-hmm. Without setting out from the outset and trying to artificially cap the cost of it and saying this will only be we'll only let someone charge someone X amount of dollars to pay for a house like this. I don't think that those types of programs work long term. At some point, the house turns over and it stops being an affordable house, even if you set out from the outset for it to be one. The only thing that works long term, I truly believe at this point, having lived this now, is to have a build, baby, build attitude towards housing in your town. We're being inundated by Californians and Chicagoans in Dallas, people who are coming because we're being economically successful. And it looks like a bargain to them, all of our housing stock, but it's driving up the median cost for people who are not used to paying that. And I think that the approach we need to take is one that is more market-based and that unleashes the potential of the private sector to build more on our unused land, which there's a lot of.
Great. Thank you, Mayor. I yield back.
Thank you, sir. Next will be Senator Realm.